going on, everybody? It's Tuesday night at 8 p.m. and it's time for Proper Royals Live. I'm excited tonight. I got Poeira's Pythons on. That's Trey Poeira from Poeira's Pythons down in Palm Coast, Florida, right down the road from me. He's got some killer recessive projects going on, double recessive projects going on. And then I found a few things we got in common. One being that we're both here in Florida, right down the road from each other. But we talk some practical stuff like garage conversions. He also breeds his own rodents. And we had some developments in the Florida laws with U.S. ARC and the reptile laws. Maybe we'll touch on that. I don't know. We'll see where it goes, but I'm excited to see what Trey's got going on. He's got a bunch of snakes and a bunch of cool projects going on. Here in the Proper Royals world, man, it's been a busy week. I got my vacation beard. I haven't even had a chance to shave. I got a chance to go out to Colorado this week. I took 3 days off and just checked out. It was really great. Met up with an old friend from high school and went and saw a show at Red Rocks. Those of y'all that are into music and want to know what we got to see. There was an opener called Rustin Kelly, who was killer. And then we saw this, I don't know if you call it a bluegrass, newgrass band, Americana, Appalachia band, but they're from Minnesota. They're called Trampled by Turtles. They were great. And then the very next night, I went to this killer punk rock show, Frank Turner and the Sleeping Souls at the Fillmore in Denver. So, we got both ends of the spectrum. Drank, I don't know if there's any beer left in Colorado. I put a dent in it. It was a fun trip. One of the cool things, and it ties back to this hobby, I got to hang out with John from Inquiline in Colorado, in Denver. He drove up from Pueblo, and we went downtown a little early on Friday, drank some beer. We hit up a German, what do you call it? Schnitzel House, beer garden. I don't know, big place. Had some big brats, legit brats, some big beers. John, it was great to see you. I don't know if you're in the audience tonight or not. But so I've been busy, but it's been good to be back on the channel. If you haven't checked it out, I did a video collaboration with Joe from Kingdom Pythons, and we talked about his breeding project in his classroom. Joe has his whole collection of ball pythons is in his classroom, and he and his students work on breeding projects together. 39 ball pythons in there with hatchlings on the way. So, pretty cool video, and we got pretty in-depth. It's about an hour long, so check that out. That's live on the channel right now. Here at home, it's a fun time of year. I got eggs due to pip any day. I'll cut on Saturday if they haven't pipped. And I have eggs due to be laid. They're on the clock. Today is the 30th day, so we're ready to have those as well. You guys have probably seen this, but we're only like 3.5, 4 weeks out from Daytona. So I'm just going to play it. Again, this is a project that Jeremy Bod has been working a ton on for the U.S. ARC auction to raise money for the good cause of U.S. ARC. If you're not a member, lectures are the last thing you need. But Florida's become a scary place for as a reptile owner for me right now. So it's feels kind of raw and kind of fresh. So if you haven't supported U.S. ARC, please do. Check out this project that Jeremy Bod has going on. It's about a 50-second promo video. So if you've already seen it, don't go away. It's real quick, but it's really well done. This is from Chris Eaton at Snakes and the Fat Man. This is his promo that he did for Jeremy's project. Check it out, and I'll tell you more about it afterwards.
Okay, so what we got here is pretty fucking cool, man. 15 Minutes of Lame Season 1 alumni Jeremy and Jeannie Bod over at Bod's Exotic Reptiles. They went out and they got themselves a guitar. Then they got that guitar signed by the original pioneering big dogs in the reptile hobby. I'm talking guys like Ralph Davis, Kevin McCurley, Brian Barczyk, the Sutherlands, Ty Park, and more. And guess where this thing is headed? To the Daytona 2022 National Reptile Breeders U.S. ARC auction. Maybe, just maybe, one of you guys could own a piece of fucking history. The only way to win this guitar is show up at the auction and bid. Help out USARK, own something bad. This is literally the only one of these guitars in the world. Get your down to the Daytona USARK auction on Saturday, August 20th at 8 p.m. at the Daytona Hilton and bid on this guitar, support USARK, and potentially be a part of reptile history.
How cool is that? To me, it's even cooler because Jeremy asked me, hey, do you have a guitar for sale? And I did, and I'll spare you the whole story on it. It's an incredibly special guitar. I wasn't sold on selling it in my mind and my heart. And then when I heard what he wanted to put it to use for, I said, absolutely. When Chris said it's one of a kind in the world, it's absolutely one of a kind. That is an Adam Shira custom. If you saw the headstock, Shira is signed on it. And it's not because my name deserves to be on there as a reptile breeder. That's a custom guitar that I built and hot rodded. And like I said, it's a special guitar to me. So I'm very, very proud. Jeremy, thank you, man. I know I saw you said thanks for sharing that, but thank you for including me. How cool. I can't wait to see what that does at Daytona. Next week, we got Alan from Creme de la Clutch coming on the show at 8 p.m. He'll be on next week, same place, same time, Creme de la Clutch. We're going to talk about a lot of good things, but we're going to talk about some French stuff, I think. I'm starting to tie it all together with his name and then Creme de la Clutch. Alan will be on next week, so check out next week's episode. Make sure that you're here. We'll be on every week, whether I announce the guests or not. I promise we're going, and we'll have guests on. You know, I got one other business thing I wanted to run by you all and get your opinion on, but let's bring Trey on and get to the content and the guests, and I'll bring it up when there's more. You know, when we kind of hit our stride at like 8:45 is usually when we have the highest number of viewers. I want to say thank you all for being here tonight. Sorry, I just saw a comment from Jeremy Bod. You're going to be playing live at the auction. No, I'm not playing live at the auction, Jeremy. I'll talk about it. I'm not playing live at the auction. I'll tell you more about that. If Phil says you need a guitar video, if you want a guitar video, you could go to Adam Shira Music on Facebook. I don't cross paths on those worlds much. I try not to. It's causes anxiety. I need one to be in one world and the other to be in another world. But like I say, I got this business idea, and it revolves around an app that I think could provide a service that's missing in our hobby. And it just so happens that the friend I was visiting on vacation is an app developer with a lot of experience in the area. And I'm interested in your feedback, or if it's already being done. Maybe I don't know about it. So we're going to talk about that tonight as well. As always, thank you all for being in the audience tonight. Pope County Pythons, thank you very, very much. You were very generous last week, and I forgot your name at the end of the show, and I was caught off guard. Pope County Pythons, thanks for coming back and being here. Red Zone, I think it was your first time here last time. Good to see you back. Thanks, everybody. I'm not great with all the shout-outs, but it's because I want to get the content. Like you guys, you can hear shout-outs on all the different shows. So I try and say hey to the new folks. But if I don't, just please know that I appreciate you all. Any of the stickers or super comments, go to Feed the Ball Pythons. You will help me feed a ball python if you do any of the super chat sticker stuff. With all that out of the way, help me welcome for the first time to the Proper Royals stage, Trey Poeira from Poeira's Pythons in Palm Coast, Florida.
Hey, how's it going, Adam?
It is good, Trey. How are you tonight, man?
I'm doing awesome. Good, man.
You just from your setup, I think you're doing awesome. I would feel awesome if I was sitting in front of that. So that's very cool.
Thank you.
Tell us about a little bit about what you got going on. Obviously, we're going to dive in tonight, but the size and the scope and just a little bit about how long you've been at it. I saw in your logo, but I'll let you tell the story.
So I started Poeira's Pythons back in 2017, and it was at its like infancy. I was still in school to be my career, which I'm a firefighter now. So we started, and to be honest, that I wasn't doing it right at all. And I've had ball pythons as pets ever since I was a kid, but I was buying the wrong stuff. And so probably during the last 2 or 3 years is when I really started getting investment animals.
Yeah.
And really starting to produce some really cool things here and there.
But that's kind of like the normal scope, right? We all start as hobbyists that just buy eye candy because we think it's cool.
Exactly.
And then one day it's like, oh, wait a minute. I've not been paying attention right.
Yeah. And I guess where it changed for me was I obviously I have a lot of YouTubers I watch. Miguel, Always Evolving Python's a great guy. I have a snake from him.
Oh, cool.
And even some people locally here in Palm Coast that there are a ton of breeders here that I'm like, you know what? I can make this into a business and my job works great. Like my schedule with the animals is awesome. Yeah. So I'm like, in order to make this a business, I need to start getting like really quality investment animals. That's the only way that you're going to make it work. So then that's what I started doing.
Yeah. So how many seasons in as far as breeding will this be, or are you in right now? This is
going to be like serious breeding starting like as the business, my second season.
Okay. All right. And then when you say non-serious breeding, had you produced a couple clutches here and there?
Yeah. Just to learn? I mean, I've been having ball pythons and dabbling here and there ever since I was 10 years old.
Okay.
So
when did you like first start breeding? Were you like breeding them as a kid, just messing around? Oh, you were
just messing around, just as a kid with a little homemade cooler incubator, and I would have one clutch of like spider ball pythons. I'd breed like my spider to my pastel. Yeah, and then makes bumblebees.
Right,
and that was it.
But you were hatching them then, though, like you.
Yeah, and I was hatching them.
Oh, nice.
And it's the coolest thing in the world to me as a little
Isn't it? I agree. Yeah. Like I'm
and even as a kid, to be honest, I remember going to the Daytona show for the first time. I was like 10 years old. I had a yellow belly that died from respiratory infection because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Yeah. And then I went to the show and I remember looking at a bumblebee ball python and I couldn't afford it. I was so mad. So I bought the pairings, and even now, since I was a kid, that was like my favorite. So I even have a bumblebee ball python het clown that is in the rack. It's probably my least valuable one, but to me, that's like never leaving here because that was what I always wanted.
I've got an orange dream. That's the same way. I'm like, it's an orange dream het pied. Like he's going to be obsolete this year. He's not going anywhere. That's my boy, man. I've got a couple that way. But yeah, I'm with you on the excitement. I was looking over here, my incubator's right here, and I have a little hook on the side of it with a flashlight just so I can like get an even closer look into the eggs, and I'm on tomorrow will be day 55. I personally cut on 58, but I know that they can pip anytime. So it's like, did that girl lay? Did those pip? Like I'm just like all day, like it's hard to.
I mean, it's like the best hobby. It's like Christmas every time when they lay eggs and when they hatch. It's like Christmas. Yep. It's awesome.
Yeah, you get this rush from all of them, and then I really get a rush when the new to me the new pairing season comes around. Although this will only be my third go around of pairings, and I'm finding more and more that it's not. I'm still pairing now, and I guess some of them I'll just pair right straight through if nothing happened. Now, once a month, not the weekly stuff. But I'm finding that it's just kind of an extended long-term experience, which is really cool to discover too, rather than just these bursts through the year. So let me ask you, just so we get this topic out of the way, do you use an ultrasound, or do you go without?
I had an ultrasound. It was a cheap $1,000 one, but it didn't do the job. So I'm in the process now of getting another one. Yeah. I've gotten pretty good with palpating my females and really knowing when, those follicles are right around like 20 millimeters and stuff, and you start introducing males. I've gotten pretty good at palpating all my females. So it's not really in the rush state to get an ultrasound, but it's definitely in the works, probably the end of this year, going into the season and next year.
So I put, just by total coincidence, for the audience, like when I'm like Trey and I have never met, and except for 9 minutes ago, kind of thing. But I always say, I've got a couple bullet points. We'll find out where the conversation goes. This is one of those times, just total coincidence. I couldn't have planned this, but on Instagram this week, I put a reel of me palpating one of my females, and it's me trying to learn. I'm not good at it. Everybody was like, well, is she going to go? I'm like, I have no idea. I couldn't tell you what I felt in there. And, but a lot of people said I should use a paper towel between my hand and the snake. And I was wondering if you could talk us through your process of palpating, since you feel confident and I clearly are doing something right with it.
And that's actually exactly what I do. You get a paper towel or a snake bag or some sort of cloth that the snake could just glide through your hands. And you'll start feeling those follicles probably at the bottom third of their body.
Okay.
And if they're small, they'll feel like just like a row of like peas or like marbles. And then you'll feel just tiny little bumps. And then every month you go in and they'll get to about the size of like a marble.
Yeah.
And then they'll get to the size of like a grape. And then they'll just keep, and you'll notice it as they get bigger. It's always better to do it after they eat and after they've used the restroom, so they're empty.
Yeah.
Because you could easily mistake a follicle for, digested.
That was about as close as I was like, I think I felt two things at the very end, and then I was like, that's about a clue.
So it's easier at like so once they use the restroom after they eat, when they're empty is when I like to do it.
Gotcha.
And so typically I like to feed them 1 week, and then the next week I'll go check them.
Yep.
And give them a week to digest that food, and you'll really notice it once you start doing that, and using the paper towel is like the key, and they just glide and you'll feel them like they're clear as day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, cool. Well, and these two specific ones are still doing and they're just eating like crazy. They're building, they're wrapping, I'm like, all right, I see the signs. I'm not going to, at this point, they're the only two that any of the males are being used with. So it's not like I need to conserve the males either at the moment. So we'll see if they go or not on that topic. So thanks for talking me through that. Tell us some stats. What's your breeding stock like? How many females you pairing this year? All that kind of thing.
So this year, I don't have a ton of breeder females as of this year. I have a lot of stuff growing up since these last couple of years is when I've really started purchasing a lot of different higher end morphs.
Sure.
So I want to say I'm predicting this year I'll probably have 15 clutches.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So about 15. And lots of those are going to be my goals, or double recessives, even triple. Well, not the visuals, but I'm making all the hets this year. Triple and double recessive combos.
Yeah.
A couple. Yeah. So
and
that's what I'm hoping for.
Obviously that's the way that the market's going. So on your investments, you're producing these hets. Is that for, obviously I'm guessing some of those are for holdback, or is that primarily for commercial? What's your path on that? Are you going to up, or are you going to buy along the way?
Yeah. When I really need to buy, I'm very specific now with what I purchase and what I need in my collection. But most of the stuff I pair, especially I would say when you're really going serious in the ball python game, and this is where I made a couple mistakes in the past, is you want to hold back, especially your females, all of them, for the most part, like all the good ones. Yeah. So I'm producing more for myself right now.
Yeah.
And, making those hets for me to keep. I'm not really too worried about selling unless I really, really need a certain male.
Right.
Most of the time it's a male that I need for certain projects.
Yeah. But so when the time comes, say hypothetically you get a double het clown pied this year, female, you're going to hold her. Will you buy the male, or are you going to are you going to go double het to double het, or you want to buy a visual to speed that up, or you don't know?
No, usually I'll buy the visual.
Yeah.
So I try to do so even with my females. A lot of people have even questioned is I even hold back. Like I have two holdbacks, just pastel het clowns, females. And people sometimes ask like, why are you holding those back they're not really worth much. Well, I made a mahogany clown visual, which those go for upwards. They used to. They're a little bit cheaper now for a female.
I saw that one on Morph Market. I know exactly.
Yeah.
I'll refrain on the number, but I saw it.
That came from a het clown. So if I'm going to sell a pastel het clown female as a hatchling for $125, where I could keep it, grow it up for 2 years while I still have the room.
Yeah.
And that female could potentially make $5,000 snakes.
Yeah.
So all my males, but it only works this way, is you have to get quality males.
Right.
So I try to get all my males double recessive, if not single gene. Like I have a Enchi exanthic pied male. That's my double recessive male. I have a leopard OD fire clown het pied. I have a black pastel Mojave triple het desert ghost exanthic pied.
Mm-hmm.
So all my males I try to get, it has to be a recessive, first of all, and it has to be either het something else, or it has to be like with a really nice codom. And I have some exceptions with that. Like I'm dabbling into the desert ghost now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have just a single gene pinstripe desert ghost, but my plan is that's going to a clown female, so I can make those double hets and hopefully produce within a couple of years double and triple visual recessives.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's where the competitive part of the market's going, certainly among breeders. I wonder, it's going to be interesting to look in say 5 or 8 or 10 years and see if there probably already is mostly two different industries between pet and breeder snakes. I mean, in reality, there probably already is, but I wonder how much that's going to affect it, because I wouldn't say I'm the same way. And like we were talking off air, you're a bit ahead of me, but anything I get has to have something recessive. And I'm trying to get to where nothing that I produce is 50 or 66% het. I want somewhere in every combination there to be a visual, so that I don't have to worry about the 50 or 66% anymore. That's not always going to be. When I introduce new codoms, of course, I'm going to have to deal with that some. Yeah. But then again, only with one of the animals, it's not guaranteed that I have to. I could still get 100% hets as long as the other one's a visual. So
exactly, yeah.
So that's really my first or my most urgent goal right now. And I put more focus on some of the cash flow and funding the business as a business, which is admittedly part of why I pushed and worked so hard on YouTube as well. But I put a little more pressure on myself on that. It's really a dream. And right now I'm in kind of a dream situation. And if ball pythons work, it means I don't have to go back to the situation that wasn't a dream. So
exactly,
I'm lucky that way, but if it doesn't work, it's not everything right now. I'm in a good spot with it.
Yeah.
Phil's the king of odds, I think. He's like, no 50 or 66. What's the fun in that? Phil, those are long-term. At least if I'm going to gamble, I want to know the results right away. Like if I'm going to roll the dice, I at least want to see what they roll at the end of the table. I want to know right away, Phil is and rightly so, he's a very strong proponent of just put them in there. And of course he pops out, double visuals on double hets to double hets kind of thing is some guys get all the luck,
I know. I wish I was like that.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, me too. So what are some of the double het pairings the double recessives that you're working on that are your pairings this year?
This year, hopefully I'm going to have, cross fingers, that leopard OD fire clown. He is going to my Enchi OD het pied. So hopefully to make some visual clown pieds that are leopard, orange dream fire, Enchi they would be actually super orange dream because the female's an orange dream. So hopefully some clown pied stuff, some double het
Hang on,
clown.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No,
Say
you're good.
pairing again, because I thought that was a visual clown to a visual pied. You're saying they've got the het, they've got the matching hets for each other to
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. She's not a clown. It's a leopard orange dream fire het pied to an Enchi OD het pied. So it'll be het clowns. That's what I meant to say. Yeah. So there'll be visual pieds, het
visual
for clown.
pieds, het for clown with 7-ish genes in the mix.
Now the odds of getting that would be that's pretty
I'm not
crazy,
saying in every snake, but in every egg,
even just one, I would love to hit just that all. So I'm hopefully going to have some of those. Some
just
genetic stripe
open is going to be a blast, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Some double het genetic stripe clowns. What else? Some triple het xanthic clown pieds I'm going to have hopefully this year. Yeah. So I have my Enchi xanthic pied going to a clown female. And I'm still debating whether I'm going to breed in my house. We'll have a pastel clown that he might go to. But I'm not sure if I want to make the Desert Ghost, the double het Desert Ghost clowns, because I have a pinstripe Desert Ghost that might go to her as well. So I'm not sure with that. I don't know which way I want to go fast, like get stuff faster, because I love both the xanthics.
Right. That's true.
And I love both the Desert Ghost and the Desert Ghost. So I'm going to be having those. And then I have just a couple of single gene, like codom females that I'm working with that they'll go to as well. I have, let me see.
So any chance of double visuals this year?
This year, no.
Okay. Gotcha.
This year, no. I did just purchase a pastel Enchi pied het clown female, but she won't be ready until next year.
Right.
So this year, I'm just kind of trying to breed and prepare, set myself up for the future.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I see that going on for probably another 2 seasons. And I'll have stuff for sale, but they won't be like the nice stuff. And I haven't posted anything on Morph Market recently. But like even when you look on my morph market, it'll be like a whole bunch of like cheap snakes because I just hold back like all my good ones.
Right. Yeah.
So
how big of a space are you in there? Am I right that that's a garage conversion?
Yeah. It is a garage.
Okay.
It's a 2-car garage.
So you about a 20 by 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the same as that's the same as what I'm in. Although we'll talk more about it later. I built a room inside the room. So my snakes are in that room, but we could talk through that in a minute. Nice. Hey, I got to say, like I say, I'm not great with the shout outs, but I got to say thanks and hey to Antoine. Antoine, it was great working with you, man. Guys, if you ever get a chance to work with Antoine, do it, man. He's like single-handedly driving views because he's running contests for people to comment on my video that he's going to get. Like, thank you, brother. Is all I could say, man. We didn't talk about any of that. I didn't ask for any of that. He didn't tell me any of that, and I think it's awesome. So thanks very much. Good looking out, Antoine. Certainly one of the honest dudes out there and the good people. So I had to say hey. So thanks very much, Antoine. Yeah, actually, let's go through. Tell us about your garage. So we're in Florida. Outside temperatures this time of year, 95, 94 average. What'd you do to convert your garage into a suitable place for your snakes?
Well, like you were saying, here in Florida, that's the biggest thing is regulating the temperature in here.
Yeah.
So the first thing I started off doing is I insulated the attic.
I'll tell you why I'm laughing in a minute. If anybody gets anything from this video, do that first. First thing is insulate the attic. Like I say, I'll tell you my story later. Go ahead, man.
And it was terrible. It's horrible to do.
Brutal, isn't it?
Yeah. And I did the mistake
crawling through.
And I made the mistake of doing it last summer.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wait, in the afternoon when it gets a little cooler and it's still sweltering up there.
Yeah. Like
it was miserable.
It's like dropping weight for a UFC fight or something. You got to come out of there because you're going to pass out, man.
It's so bad, but it was worth it. So I did that first. And then I got a portable little, like those stand-up air conditioning units. And yeah, I was going to do a mini, which I think I am going to do, is like a mini split. That's like a mini air conditioner that goes outside. But for now, I got one of those stand-up ones, and I got like a dryer vent.
Oh.
And I just drilled it through, because my house is wood frame, just through the outside and put the dryer vent. So when it's running, it just vents out of that hole.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it works pretty good. My snake room stays around 77 to 79 degrees in the summer when that AC is running.
Is that your whole garage, or you have like some false walls set up to keep the temperature contained in that one area?
No, for now, that's my whole garage.
Okay. So that one stand-up unit's bringing your whole garage, your 400 square feet in Florida summer down to the upper 70s for you?
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
What about, did you use any of I'm waving my hand like you guys can see it. My garage door is right there. Did you use any of the garage door insulation or wall insulation, or just the ceiling?
Just the ceiling. And I do, because my garage door is insulated, but I do want to put a little bit extra because I feel like I could get it a little bit cooler, and so that AC doesn't have to run constantly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the next thing I'm going to do is that. So
yeah, I did. So why I was laughing, when I moved to this house from North Carolina, I bought this house in 2008, moved to North Carolina for 10 years, moved back here last year after I left restaurants. And I knew the snakes had to come to the garage we had downsized the house, and it was the place that it had to be. So at the time, and I look because it's all right in front of me, I was like, well, if I build and insulate a room in the garage, then I don't have to cool the whole garage, and I can do this more efficiently. And then in the wintertime, when I need to heat it, I don't need to heat the whole garage. I can just heat that smaller square footage. So it's like a 10 by 8 room, and it's done great. It does exactly what I wanted it to do. And I did put in a Mr. Cool mini split like you were talking about. And when you said you vented it for the dryer vent, that's the only vent that the Mr. Cools need as well. It just has to be higher up. You got, once you pop that through and then you run it down to your outside unit, I'm no AC tech, and I got that thing in, and it's been great. I'm really,
that's probably the next thing I really want to do. And I was thinking about making a room like you're saying.
Yeah.
But the amount I see that I'm going to expand, I'm going to need to like this whole garage, because I'm starting to dabble in a little bit with the boas as well.
I saw that. I was going to ask you about the boas too a little later on. So I'm with you. Don't build a room. So I'm in here one day, and I got if you haven't seen the channel, I got my sink over here. I got a commercial dish pit sink. Like my restaurant sink is in my garage now, so I can rip through cleaning tubs and all of that. So I'm standing there, and I was like, man, it's hot in here. Man, this thing is running. I was having to set it at like 76 to get the room down to about 78, because this is my day job office as well, right here. And just on a whim, man, I broke out my heat gun, and I stuck it on, and I temped the ceiling, and the ceiling was 110. And I was like, Adam, you're going to kill yourself. You're going to kill the snakes. You're going to burn out your AC, and you're going to wonder what happened, man. I was so mad, man. I didn't sleep very well that night. The next morning, I went to Home Depot, and I got the thickest stuff, the 14-inch R38, man.
That's exactly what I have.
Yep. And it's thick, and it's gross. And the second you cut that bag, it expands to about 8 feet high.
And then you're itching forever.
Oh, forever. Yeah, I did it overnight. I started it at like 10 o'clock one night. And this was only like a month ago. So it was just brutal hot up there. It doesn't matter that it's at night. It's so hot up there. immediately though, I've not seen the ceiling temperature above 84 degrees since then. I'm looking at the mini split. The mini split is set at 81. It's 77.
Yeah,
that's it. It doesn't hit 81 in here. When that gets, when that hits 80, that thing's kicking into overdrive. It doesn't hit 81, and I have it set to 81. So I love it. And to your point about expanding, now that I figured out the insulation and regulating, getting it the way that I want to without overdriving that AC, I'm gonna end up tearing that room down. That's gonna end up just being a sunk cost that I, build. Maybe I'll salvage the lumber and build shelving or something in here that I need. But just the quantity of, and I say just, that's a hell of a lot of racks behind you, but the quantity of racks behind you would not fit in my room. I've got an ARS 5040 in there, a couple hatchling racks, and then I've got a 5540 stacked on some 7030s coming in August, which will go on the other end of it. But that's it. Once I outgrow that, which will be in another year and a half, I'm taking it all down. It's all going to come down, and I'll just expand out from it.
Yeah, and that's where kind of I was at. Probably the garage door itself will be all hatchlings.
Yeah.
And then what you see behind me will be all my adults.
Okay.
And then I have a wall over here to my left, and that hopefully will hold I kind of just want to do like 10 boas, females, 10 breeder females. I have a really close buddy, and that's where I only get my boas from. He's here in Palm Coast, and he deals with super high-end boas. He's awesome. Shout out his ball boas.
Do it. Ball boas. Okay.
Ball boas, Berto. Yeah, he's absolutely awesome, and he's starting to get into the ball pythons as well. So we're kind of partnership in a way. I help him with the ball pythons. He helps me with the boas, and they need so much room. So that's why I'm like, I need a clean. And I have my ASFs as well in the garage.
Oh, I got you.
The snakes too, which that's a whole different story.
That's got to make it tough to handle your snakes at all, huh? Are they just always?
Oh yeah, they're always just super. They're ready to eat, but that's definitely the turning point in my collection. Or breeding those ASFs, those have saved me so much money, and my snakes grow way faster, and it's just awesome.
Oh, cool.
But I need them in a shed. I can't have them in the snake room anymore. They're driving me crazy.
My problem, just to get real specific, when we moved, we downsized. This house is a little bit smaller than we were used to, and I'm fortunate in life to be able to say that. This is also my music rehearsal space. There's bikes over there. My little wood shop is right over here. And then this is my work office here. So once those walls come down, I'm going to have to realign kind of everything. But I like the idea of the ARS racks on the wheels to where I could.
Oh, yeah.
You ever see those old library systems that have their shelves like on a sliding rack to where to save space? I don't think I'm going to go that crazy, but I think I could take something rather than have them surrounding on the walls with me, open space in the middle. I think I could use that mentality as long as I could leave them, the thermostat secured and then the wiring long enough, maybe a track above it or something. So what I'm saying is my garage still has to sort of function as family storage as well.
Yeah. And that's where I'm at kind of right now on that wall on the far side. Is I have my desk where I do my work, my freezer for my rats, and like bikes and miscellaneous stuff. Yeah. So hopefully I want it all out and this just a snake room, but
right.
Hopefully one day.
Well, and I really think I'm going to end up staying here in Florida until my son graduates, which will be another 7, 8, 9 years. 8 years exactly. But this is actually a good segue. I'm not saying I would leave and move from Florida if the laws became too restrictive, but that might be the tipping point. Like Colorado was pretty nice where we visited. My wife's family is from Minnesota. I could be convinced to go to different places. What are your thoughts on what's going on in Florida with the laws? Do you follow it at all? Do you consider it, or is it, am I
recently? Recently I've really been into it. And that's actually funny you mentioned it. Me and Berto from Balboa's, we actually had a conversation last week, and we're like, we're going to get out of here if they ban these snakes, because there's no way I'm getting rid of any of my animals ever again.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it definitely is scary, and and supporting USARK is like the biggest thing right now. There's a petition going around. Everyone who lives in Florida needs to sign it. Let our governor know. Let everyone who deals with all this stuff, let them know, and let them hear us.
I agree.
Keep our animals.
Just for those of y'all that don't know in the audience, and you might not even be aware either, Trey, you probably are, but just this week, last Wednesday, here in Jacksonville, I was flying out to Colorado. I would have gone to the hearing myself, but the FWC hearing, they agreed to move forward with the 2 new laws, which they're enacting laws. They're not elected officials. They're appointed officials, so they're not representing anything democratically. And I don't mean Democrat like a party system. I mean, based on what our country's based on. And the 2 new laws are just what I was talking about on the show last week, that if you're injured by one of your animals that's listed on the FWC licenses, you have to self-report, which likely could cause a violation or a flag. It's a medical privacy invasion. And these are things that aren't going to stand up in court yet until somebody pays the money to go challenge them, put the time, go fight the fight, get them repealed, which is going to be a year's process. This isn't going to happen anytime soon.
No.
And all that takes money. And USARK Florida has great lawyers, just as the national office does, but it takes money. And that's why I know I'm preaching to the choir, Trey, but for the audience, man, that's why we have to support USARK in any way that we can, whether it's participating in the auctions, just straight up giving them money, raise awareness by buying the shirts and that kind of thing. Please do it, because I use the expression with, they say if you want to cook a frog, you put it in cold water and slowly heat the water up and it won't jump out. And I feel like this is a slow boil. Little bit here. Oh, we'll enact a little bit here. We're going to enact a little bit here to have our Florida Class 3 licenses, which are required to sell and display, not to own ball pythons in Florida, but to sell or display them. I have to agree that a Florida wildlife official can come in here anytime they want, with or without a warrant. They have GPS coordinates on my facility. They have my list of inventory. And I agreed to it. I signed it. I got it. I have my license. But here's another erosion of the rights being enacted. And USARK is fighting those things, and they're going to do a good job for us, and they will eventually prevail. The question is and FWC is Florida Wildlife Commission, are they going to drive us out of business or out of happiness fast, before we can repeal these things is really the question. And I don't have the quote in front of me. Jeremy Bod, I know you're up on this stuff. I think you're watching. Maybe you can find it. Reagan Renee. Yeah, very good. Yeah, it's a Fifth Amendment problem. The law says that you have to self-report, which is self-incrimination. That is in our Constitution. That's exactly right, and that's the law that they can enact, and it's going to stand until somebody challenges it in court, and a judge goes, "No, dummy, you can't do that." That's the world that we're in right now here in Florida, and I think it's a proving ground, although most states that have any kind of seasons have enough sense to know that they have much less concerns about, quote, invasive species. There was a quote from the meeting. Jeremy, you might be able to pull it up. I'm sure you're familiar with it. I'm going to paraphrase, but it's close to a quote. The chairman of the board or the chairman of whatever committee of FWC said this part, I quote, as the chair, I am a vote of one. I don't need any other input. I don't need to convince anybody else. I'm one vote, and that's the law. Yeah. And then he said, make no mistake, we're coming after you.
Yeah.
What the hell? And sorry, I gotta watch my mouth because I like to I try and keep things clean on the show. But that's not how government should work. That's not how government overreach should be. We wouldn't accept it with any other laws. We wouldn't accept it with, I'll just speak about food safety. I mean, it's going to be a long haul. Tradesman, you're right. That's Tito, good buddy here in town. When you say it took 4 years to be changed, are you talking about to get it undone, or it was 4 years that they spent enacting it?
Can you repeat the question?
Sorry.
What was it?
I was Tito made a comment saying.
Oh, gotcha.
I was asking Tito to clarify.
I gotcha.
So, yeah, Sea of Serpents. I realized that you have the amendment to protect yourself from illegal search and seizure. Not if you waive it. The license requires you to waive it. So, oh yeah, 4 years for them to get rid of the import laws. So, you know, at the pace this guy's going, to say he's a vote of one and he's coming after people, he could do a lot of damage in 4 years while we're fighting it in the courts. So, look, guys, I don't want to turn this into just a U.S. ARC episode. I know we talk about it all the time, but I don't want it to become normalized. I'm not willing to become that frog that boils. And if I have a small platform, however big this platform is, which I'm thankful for, I'm going to put it to use. So
another good point too is it's not just our reptile hobby. So if everyone has friends in, you know, aquariums or birds, mammals, you know, reach out to those people too and have them contact, you know, the governor or whoever is up there, send letters, and it'll affect us all, not just the reptile community. So you can make our voice bigger, but, you know, but as reptile keepers, you know, US ARC, like you mentioned, is going to help us tremendously. But
you're right. The bird and the fish, bird particularly, but the bird and the fish community as well have been incredibly supportive, working arm in arm from what I understand. You know, I said I was going to leave this alone. I had one more thought, though, this week. It really hit me because, you know, Facebook can be a really toxic place to be. And somebody commented on Facebook on the US ARC page, hey, what's it matter? He's going to do whatever he wants to do. And to my point, I just said he's a vote of one. You know what? You're right. But I'm not going to stand by and just go, well, I gave up and I threw in the towel. If it's important to me, I am going to fight it. I've been in physical fights I knew I was going to lose, and I damn sure stood my ground. And you know, maybe they got the best of me that day, but you know, every now and again, the little guy comes through pretty well too. And you know, if any fight that was worth fighting, I just was willing to go, well, it's going to be tough and I might lose. I'm not going to do it, man. Nothing would happen. So yeah. I can't abide by just saying, well, it's going to happen. I'll be screwed. This is my home. This is where I grew up. I moved back to this home. I've owned this home for 14 years and paid my taxes. My vote counts too. So there. All right. Enough of that soapbox stuff. So I know you say you don't sell many snakes, but the snakes that you do sell, where do you, I looked on Morph Market and did a little research. It looks like not many you have made it to Morph Market. So I'm guessing either you don't sell many at all, or you have avenues prior to Morph Market. What's your preferred avenues?
Typically, most of my sales don't even make Morph Market, and there are a lot of the lower end animals because I keep all of the higher end ones.
Right.
Like I said, I'm still in that building stage and kind of a hoarder when it comes to holdbacks. I'll even hold stuff that I'm like, why do I even need this? So right now I'm actually
how many snakes do you have right now that like aren't hatchlings for sale?
Right around 60.
Okay. Say. All right.
Yeah.
I had from pictures I had written, I don't know if it'll focus. I had written 80 animals. So I was close. I was in the ballpark.
You were close. Yeah. Like right around 60. And most of them are holdbacks. So even my adult females, I have some that I want to part with, but they're still breeders. And my theory is once this rack is full with all my females and I start having nice stuff to replace it.
Right.
And that's what I'll start doing.
That's been my thought too. As long as I have the space. Now, again, I set some pretty I wouldn't say strict, ambitious financial goals for myself. So sometimes if I'm torn between should I or shouldn't I will sell it sometimes. But that's my thought, as long as I have space and they're female and they can produce for me, I will hold them back. Or if it's that magical male that I've been waiting for, then of course I'll buy it or hold it back. But that's kind of my angle too. So where do you, if you want to share, where and how do you sell the ones that you don't hold back?
Morph market I'll use here and there, and lots of times it's word of mouth.
Yeah.
People that I've known from previous sales, they'll hit me up and be like, hey, you have any for sale?
Yep.
And there's actually this one guy in Jacksonville that he'll like buy like a whole clutch. And he'll just be like, I'll take it all. I'm like, okay,
cool.
Here you go. So yeah.
If you ever want to typically, just let me know, No, I'm joking.
Yeah. But that's typically what I do. And then I'll post some stuff on Morph Market here and there. I don't have too many sales on Morph Market, but like I said, I'm a hoarder when it comes to a lot of these stuff. I do a lot of trades as well.
Okay.
So some stuff that I really, really need, and if I have, like, for instance, that Pass the Mahogany Clown.
Yeah.
Really nice female to hold back, but I really needed some more males. And I could always buy a visual male. I was hoping to make a male mahogany clown to go into my males.
Start going.
But I didn't really need the female. I'm like, I could really use some nice males, so I'll do a lot of trades.
Yeah.
And that's how I got the Xanthic Pied and the Triple Het Desert Ghost Xanthic Pied.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'll do a lot of that as well. But Morph Market, I'll use when I have some surplus. And like I said, I have nothing on there now, but I'm actually going to be posting, I would say within the next 2 weeks, I'll have quite a few on there. Some holdbacks I decided to let go and some hatchlings that I have.
Gotcha. You said earlier, and I'm interested, that there's a lot of breeders in your area. For the audience, Palm Coast is not a huge area. It's south of St. Augustine, north of Daytona, right on 95, coastal town. And I wouldn't say it's rural, but it's what I think of golf courses when I'm there, like that.
It's super small, small. It's one of the smaller counties. Yeah.
So how did you get to know that community? One thing that's odd to me is I've literally in Jacksonville I've met two breeders. One is Tito at Tradesman, who I buy my ASFs from him when I need lives, and then really one other, and there's a couple more I know of. One that does want to connect, but it seems like a lot of people just want to stay way underground locally.
Yeah.
Which is that just struck me as different when you said you knew that there was a lot of breeders in Palm Coast.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny, actually, right where I moved, the house where I moved, not half a mile down the street is where I used to buy rats from, this breeder. Really awesome guy. His name is Mike. He has some really cool stuff. And he breeds now, but he doesn't sell rats anymore. He has a day job and he doesn't want to produce as many. But he has a pretty decent, really nice collection. And there's another, and then through him, I've met two other breeders. One of them no longer breeds. He used to breed retics before they were banned.
Yeah.
And the other, he's actually a close friend of mine now, and we've met through him. And he has an amazing collection. His name is Christian from Road Art Reptiles.
Wow. Okay.
And he's really, really awesome. He has some unbelievable. And he's one of my, and we help each other. And he's one of my, I wouldn't say inspirations, but that opened my eyes to be like, I just need to start buying investment animals. And then there's obviously my really close friend. He's actually family now.
Yeah.
Married my aunt, which is Berto from Ball Boas. He does the boas. And we're all just here in Palm Coast. And I think there's a couple more, if I'm not mistaken, that I've met here and there through shows and talking online and selling some animals that I can't remember their names. But there's like a good 5 or 6 of us down just in Flagler County, Palm Coast area. And then Daytona, obviously, there's a ton going towards DeLand.
Like, and DeLand, Dale and George MD are there. I mean, just those two alone would make DeLand a hot spot. And then there's quite a few others as well. Tito's saying Palm Coast ain't too far. No, it's about an hour away. It's just south of here. Let's take one quick little interjection here for a moment. Those of y'all that are just joining, this is Trey Poeira from Poeira's Pythons. Trey, you're on Instagram, on YouTube. Where else? Where else can people find you? Morph Market,
Facebook, Morph Market. Well. Yeah, I'm mostly on Instagram.
Yep.
And so that's where I do most of my posting, Instagram and Facebook. YouTube, I'm still in the process of doing more videos and stuff. I am not good in front of the camera.
You got to keep going.
I got to keep going. That's why I keep on telling myself. So I'll pick it up, do a couple of videos, get really inspired, and then kind of let it go. Then I'll do a couple more. Just remember, I really need to work more on that.
A double visual will get you more views than my pretty face ever will. So just take solace in that. Also, let's see. Next week will be Alan from Creme de la Clutch. Pythons will be on the show next week. And then, audience, I need your input. I want to share an experience that I had out in Colorado. And Trey, I'd love your input as well. And this really is like a bouncing ideas and a business idea off of you all. And look, I had when I was talking with my buddy about this, because so he's a web developer. He asked me if there's any gaps that I saw in, say, Morph Market or say the hobby that could be solved through technology or through development. And I was like, wow, that's cool. And we got talking, and I told him this thought, and he was like, ask your audience. He says, my number one rule is that I won't work on anything without market kind of evaluation or market input. And I was like, that's cool, but what if somebody steals the idea? And he goes, there's good ideas everywhere, man. He goes, you're the one with the audience and the platform that can bring this to some masses, and I'm the one that can program it. If somebody else has that combination on ball pythons, more power to them. So I was like, okay, that's cool. So my thought, and what I want to know is if anybody knows that this already exists, or if anybody knows if Morph Market's already working on it, because it won't make sense if those are the two cases. Morph Market to me seems very monetized towards sellers. Makes sense. Bring the buyers. It's a free experience for the buyers, and it gives them a marketplace, and the sellers can essentially pay rent for their place. So that makes sense to me. I don't think there's been any services, though, specifically other than providing a marketplace for buyers. And I'm not saying that I want Morph Market to necessarily monetize buyers or make it expensive for buyers to access the market. That's not my play. The service that I don't think that Morph Market has that I've always wanted is that I can enter in desired animals or desired combinations, and that when they come up, I can get an alert right away. For me, I would pay for that. And you were talking about specific males that you were looking for. I think you were talking about a mahogany clown. If you knew you needed a mahogany clown with a het candy, probably doesn't exist in the world, or maybe it does. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm just making this up right now. However, if you knew you needed that, and you're the breeder that goes on the philosophy, it's all hypothetical, but hey, if it's the animal I need, I don't really care about the price. I'll probably pay it. I want to know the second that hits the Morph Market marketplace. Mm-hmm. For me, I feel like that would be a great value to purchasers, to customers, the buyers on Morph Market. But I don't know. I'm one man. There's plenty of ideas that I thought were brilliant, or menu ideas that blew up in my face. Is that something you all would use as the audience? Is that something that it already exists, other than, because I hear people going, no, I check Morph Morph Market all the time for this gene. What if you could free up your time and not have to check all the time for that gene? What do you think? There's the pitch.
Yeah. No, but to be honest, I think that's a great idea, because there are several times I'll go on there and, like I said, I'm very particular about what I buy now.
Right.
And sometimes I need just that specific combo that'd go perfect with my collection. And I'll just go one day and go and type everything in, and boom, it's pending. I'm like, are you kidding me? I missed it by a day and I didn't even know it was on there.
All right.
And if I were to get that alert, I know Morph Market, like, they'll send weekly, I'll get like everything that's available or new posts.
Right.
But there's tens of thousands of snakes on there.
Yeah,
you'll never see.
Yeah.
Now, if you put it in, I think that's a fantastic idea.
It would be active. Yeah. Instead of you having to search for it, whether it's manual, type it in, or reading the newsletter. Yeah. Tito at Tradesman. Tito, you're exactly right. Like a watch list for certain genes or very specific combinations. And is that worth $1 or $2 a month subscription? I mean,
oh, absolutely. If
1,000 people were to sign up for $1 a month, I'll take that. And that'd be a fantastic start, because the other thing is then, and I got to be careful, because I don't want to just make everything transactional, but like you say, you got word of mouth relationships built. What about somebody who doesn't have the relationships? Maybe there's a way they could pay X dollars more, or the seller can go for this price. I'll offer it to you first. If you want to pay a 50%, not a 50%, a $50, buyer's commission, or whatever the heck it is. So, anyhow, audience, let me know what you think. If you want to email me, message me, leave it in the comments below. Let me see. Reagan Renee, hang on. This is the stuff I'm interested in. I used a website that alerts you if changes are made on another site, and used URL for a very specific search. So yes, I would use that feature. So I am going to keep 2 details proprietary, and that's business for secret. Charlie at Reagan Renee. Charlie, that is driven by a technology called scraping, and that is a possibility of what my developer buddy could do, but he says it's not the right way to do it, and we would need I'm just going to leave it there. So what that does is that would scrape the site, and it would say, okay, in this field, look for this word. But the second that that Morph Market changes their layout and moves clown from here over to here, like they're doing right now on a redesign, he would have to recode the whole thing, and the app would crash. It would become obsolete immediately with that scraping technology. So there's another way to do it, and that's where his expertise is and he's comfortable with. So I think it would be interesting. Yeah, Tito, that's what most people are. Yeah, Patreon's big thing is you get first dibs before Morph Market. Maybe I've always said I don't like Patreon. Maybe that's how we could do the Patreon workaround, is that people would find this more valuable or whatever it might be. But if you are interested, if you think that would be a good thing to pursue, I'd be interested in hearing you from it, or hearing from you about it. And then again, my developer buddy says we gotta, at that point, if it still sounds like a good idea, we're going to set up a survey site. We'll run some ads to get people to actually take a survey, so we get some really quantitative analysis on it. But that could be something that we work on, and it would be in a partnership with, if the vision worked the way I wanted it to, or probably needs to, it would have to be a partnership with Morph Market, but hopefully it'd be a separate app that we would work with. So who knows? Maybe we'll see that come to fruition by the end of the year or early 2023. At least get underway under that time. But again, I would love to have everybody's input if y'all are willing to participate. Yeah, Charlie says the format. Yeah, there we go. The format changes hung up my setup actually, and I had to redo several times. Great point. Yeah. So, Charlie, you were doing that yourself. You were programming that. You were setting up that scrape yourself. Nice. Okay. Well, guys, if you all have thoughts and ideas, let me know. I'm interested in it, and I trust that developer. he was at my wedding. I've known him 30 years. Our kids play together. Very, very brotherly type of friendship. So we might see that. We might see that happen. What, Trey? Back to Florida. What do you been through any hurricanes with your animals?
I want to say, was it last year or the year before Dorian?
It wasn't last year. I haven't had
the year
it.
before.
Yeah,
then.
it had to be 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Hurricane Dorian, but it didn't hit us too bad. So I still had power. Everything ran smooth. So I hasn't really experienced the power outage and the chaos that could happen.
Gotcha.
With my animals. Yeah, I've experienced it without my animals, and it's terrible.
Right. Well,
but not with my animals.
Yeah, living in Florida, I mean, anywhere you're going to have, after a long enough time, you will have had that. But do you have a generator backup? Do you have, like, I'm assuming your eggs are in an incubator with any, like, I ask because I'm kind of teeing this up, but I lose sleep over that, man. I have never had this many eggs in an incubator of this much value. And I'm like, here it is, July. And so what do you do?
Hurricane. Generator backup. There's even a way, which I don't have now, but I do want to incorporate in the house, that you could run the generator, plug it into a outlet on the outside, and it powers your whole house.
That's correct.
That's probably something I'm going to look into doing.
Yeah. Somebody in the audience will know, probably Tito will know, but what is that called, guys? It's it's basically a circuit switch on the outside. You fire up the generator, and the things on that circuit get kind of first treatment from the electricity. So I don't have that. I do want to get it, but I have a generator.
Yeah.
But like I say, with these eggs, man, I was losing sleep because I'm like, if I'm out of town, then what? Well, it's not really going to make a difference if I'm out of town. Mostly if I was asleep, and like I could sleep, man. When I'm out, I'm out. Yeah. But anyway, I got it's called a UPS uninterruptible power supply, and it's usually for like computer servers and that kind of thing. Yeah. That'll buy me 3 hours. Creative Genetics has a transfer switch. Yes, thank you.
That's what it is.
Yeah, there's a transfer switch that it goes on the outside, but it ties directly to the breaker box, and you flip that transfer, and it brings the power from the generator instead of the main service. So I got a UPS uninterruptible power supply. I keep looking that way because I'm looking right at it. It has currently, it says at the current draw, which on the thermostat is probably like 16% draw. It's got a little over 3 hours plus alarms. So it'll wake me up in 3 hours. It'll buy me time to get the generator started and set up, because not only do you have to start it, you got to run all the extension cords. I've got a fridge. My animals actually would be okay with no power for quite a while.
Yeah, same here. But it's the eggs and the amount of frozen rats I have.
I was about to say, fridge. I need that fridge not to go down.
Yeah, that'll be an expensive loss. But it kind of sucks with me. So God bless her. My wife takes care of the most, because every time there's a hurricane, I work beachside at Flagler Beach.
That's right. You're the guy on.
Yeah, so I'm there for like a week at a time on like this tour, you could say. It's not really a tour, but on duty and mandatory every time there's a hurricane. So that drives me absolutely crazy. Not only like making sure my family's okay, like being there, but like, oh my goodness, are my animals okay? Like I'm not going to see them in like a week. We don't have power on the beach side. I wonder how everything's going at the house.
Exactly.
So.
And what people that don't live in Florida probably don't realize is that it's like a national pastime to ride out a hurricane. Like you always see the lines of people leaving, especially in Northeast Florida, knock wood. We haven't had a direct hurricane hit since like 1933 or something. So like Northeast Florida, none of us leave. We just don't. Like it's dumb. I'm saying it out loud. I can't explain it. We just don't. We'll sit here for 3 days. I remember I got stuck. You talk about getting stuck at the beach. I got stuck at a Ruby Tuesday for 3 days because, I was working there, and we had to be. Ruby's they're like Waffle House. They don't close, man. But I lived at the beach, so I was over the bridge. They wouldn't open the bridges because the winds were too high for like 3 days straight. And it sounds crazy to me now. I'm like, yeah, all I wanted to do was get out there. And I'm like, no, there's a reason the bridges were closed. And why did
It's a Florida thing.
Yeah.
No one else would understand. It's a Florida. I remember as a kid, we would have hurricane parties.
Yeah.
So
big
all
time.
my family members that would have like pine trees near their yard, our house didn't. So we would have cousins over, family members, aunts, and we're just having a party at our house.
Absolutely.
And everyone's just sleeping over.
No power.
And it's just awesome.
Drinking our faces. Yeah. And then of course, like the stand looking out of the garage with just things flying by, you know? So
now I don't get to enjoy that. Now I'm just at work, riding it out.
Now you're cleaning up after the rest of us idiots.
Exactly.
You know? But no, I will say I was in Miami immediately after Hurricane Andrew, and that's a different situation, man. Holy cow. That's different. Most of them were pretty well set up to handle, but that wasn't at all. So what did we miss? What did we not cover? What audience, you got any Q&A for us this evening? Trey, what about for yourself, man? What's like your big purchase on your, like, what's that mail purchase that you're saving up your money for, man?
And hopefully it comes in Daytona. I'm really aiming for a sunset by the end of this year, mail. I'm really aiming for that.
Do you know Stephen and Courtney from Leviathan Snakes? Have you ever seen those people?
Yes.
Get in touch with them. I think they've got some visuals coming this year, and I know
they're going to be at Daytona.
Yeah, they'll be there.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll be at Daytona. And I know they have a wait list and all that, but I also know how wait lists go. Like, everybody's rich when they put their name on a wait list. When it actually comes time to, you know what I mean? So
exactly.
So I'd get in touch with them. They've got some, but also like they know where the sunsets are too. If they're really, really tied in on that stuff. So and they're great. Stephen I'm surprised Stephen's not in the audience tonight, but he'll be glad to talk with you. Yeah,
no, definitely. Yeah, that's what I'm in. That's my big ticket item. Hopefully, is the sunset to buy one of those.
So
I'm pretty clowned out. I have so many clowns. I do need more tides, and I do need more desert ghosts. So I'm also in the market for that. Some females of those, but if I can get my hands on a male sunset, I think that's
gotcha. What pieds are you looking for?
I'm right now trying to buy pieds, visual pieds that are either or the double visual females, exanthic pieds and clown pieds.
Gotcha.
So either the double visual or some like really nice codoms that are het clown or het exanthic or even het desert ghost. I could use one of those, but more the exanthic and the clowns right now is what I'm looking for. Either the visual or some really crazy looking pies that are het for whatever.
Yeah. If she goes, she's one of the ones I don't know if she's going to go or not. I'll have some clown pod double hets come up this year if she goes. But so on the sunset, what's your vision for like the genes that you want to get in on that? Like we're just scratching the surface here, and that's a big question. But what do you like? What would be your what would you be chasing down on that?
I would put us to some dark genes, GHI, mahoganies. Hopefully, I'm going to get my hands on some Wookiee stuff from Mike, my friend. Something darker.
Yeah.
And hopefully to bring my vision is to bring in dark red, instead of the orange. So maybe like GHI or even red stripe, putting it in with like Enchi or something to really make it more red. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm trying to make a red ball python instead of an orange. Cool. Everyone's trying to go orange right now, and I'm trying to make a red one.
Yeah.
I feel like a dark snake would help with that. Yeah. Maybe with Enchi or something like that. I feel like that's going to be the way to make a red snake. So that's hopefully my vision. And obviously I would love to put it into pieds. I would love to see like sunset pieds. I don't remember if they were made. I thought I saw one. I think they have been made.
I think they've been made,
and they looked awesome.
Yeah.
And but that's probably the route that I would want to go. Make something red. So.
Nice. What's your? It seems to be the hot topic these days. What's your feeling on Ultramels?
I've been, to be honest, with all of the albino complexes, I've just been. It's not on the top of my list. I really liked, out of all of them, the Ultramels are my favorite.
Yeah,
I really like that caramel albino look that it brings without the defects.
Right.
Right now, I have some candy stuff, which I think I'm going to get out of and replace it with the Ultramel. I have a candy het clown male. That,
oh, really?
Yeah, that I was going to start breeding, but actually, I'm sorry. He's possible het clown, but he's a visual candy possible het clown, and he's a killer. He looks awesome, but I think there's too many going on, like the lavender albino, the candies, the rainbows. They all kind of are the same snake, just some things are different. They all give that lavender and that yellow. So the Ultramel is the only one that's vastly different other than the caramel albino, but no one really works with that because of the defects.
Yeah, because the defects.
So that's probably the route I'm going to go.
I have a different opinion, which is cool, and that's allowed, and not just because it's my show and society, it should be. I like candy a lot, man. If we should talk about that candy male, man. If you do decide to get rid of it, I might be
definitely
interested in that. I've got
he's a visual 100% candy, and actually the guy who I bought, Mike, he a lot of people wonder about the candies and the candinos, how to tell them apart. And he showed me, and he's proven it time and time again. The candies, I don't know how true this is. I haven't proved it. He seems to be pretty sure on it. The candies, after a couple sheds, their eyes are going to be more ruby red and dark.
Yeah, than the candinos. That's correct. I agree with that. Yeah. And Charlie,
and a lot of people have questions about like whether it's a candy or a candino, but that's a pretty easy way to tell them apart.
Yeah, Tito says, how much candy stuff might you get rid of? Yeah, I think he might be interested too. No, I'd be interested in that, and especially, especially if there was something that I happen to produce this year from a trade standpoint, if you were interested. But maybe at Daytona we could talk as well. You're going to be down at Daytona?
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. Do you stay, or you just go down and come back?
No, I drive. Yeah, I think I'm on duty the Saturday. So I'll be there Sunday.
Well, I'll be there Sunday. I'm definitely supposed to hang out and see a whole bunch of people Saturday night. So I might be a little fuzzy Sunday, but we definitely got to catch up on Sunday.
Definitely. Another passion project of mine too, which it's funny. I started getting into it and I'm like, this is such an underrated gene, and pretty soon everyone's going to want it. So I started buying stuff, is genetic stripe, and especially genetic stripe clowns.
I wanted to ask you about that. I heard you say that earlier. Tell me about your the genetic stripe attraction for you.
The first time I saw the genetic stripe clown, I think it was from Garrett DeMeyer. I think that's the first one I saw. And I'm like, why aren't people like buying these? So I started like hoarding all these genetic stripe stuff. And now I only have a couple because I got rid of a couple. And now I'm like all back in it. And I'm like, they're like $150 for this recessive. I'm just going to buy a couple single genes, and I have some combos as well. And before you know it, everyone is working with genetic stripe clowns. And you can't get your hands on a double hat, or you'll get like Dale has a lot, and I've been like hounding him. I'm like, please, there's if you have 100%, because he has like a genetic stripe 66% het because he's still breeding the hets and stuff.
Right.
I'm like, do you have like one that's 100% het, and I'll like spend whatever, just let me know. So that's that's like a passion project of mine. And I think it was like 2 years ago, I'm like, this could be like the next big thing. And I guess everyone else thought the same.
Yeah. Well, at least you're on trend though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll see. Actually, the female that I was palpating in that video is a blackhead het genetic stripe. and I'm breeding her to a male blackhead genetic stripe. So slim odds, but the odd, I could hit a super blackhead genetic stripe. And I haven't seen one. I don't know if I don't really get caught up in the world's first crap, but that's only because I've never produced one. Maybe once I do, I'll be more excited about it. But I think it'll be a super cool animal and obviously a powerful breeding.
Definitely.
Animal. So we'll see. But like I say, she's the one. She's still acting like she's going to go. She still breeds when I pair her, and she eats and bowl wraps. And actually, I came back from Colorado and I found her in an ARS tub. I found her I'm like, girl, you don't fit in there. It's never going to work in there for So just up by her neck, she's curled up with her neck and the rest of the body hanging out. So
that's awesome.
I think I don't know, but
that will definitely be a powerhouse male to have.
Well,
if you're getting rid of a male, you let me know. I'll be on top of it.
If I hit the well, like I said about Steven Sunsets, there's a waiting list already. I will add you to it, but I can't imagine where I can't really imagine where I'd be letting them go. But what's the expression? Money talks. So maybe I can be convinced. Produced it once, maybe I could produce it again. So anyhow, Trey, I want to tell you thanks for being here, man. I definitely want to catch up. Yeah, my pleasure. I want to catch up in Daytona, and I'd love to catch up, in half a year's time to see where your collection and your projects are going. You obviously got big ambitions with the all the double het and the double visual stuff going on. Mm-hmm. So I'd love to know where you end up, and just if I don't know how I can, but if I can ever be of help here in Jacksonville as a resource for you, please let me know. If you're ever
awesome. Same here.
Yeah,
same here. You're welcome to one day if you want to take a look at the collection.
I was going to say, man, I should come down with the camera sometime and do a little field trip kind of thing. Because like I say, there's all the guys that there in Palm Coast. George Emney and Dale are right there. I know Keys is down in Daytona. There's a hot little corridor right here that'd be pretty fun to do for, to make a weekend out of kind of thing. Definitely. Be really cool to go hang out and see everybody. So I really appreciate that. Stick on the line for just a second when we wrap up. Don't hang up when the show ends. Guys in the audience, thank you for being here tonight. As always, we do it every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. right here on Proper Royals. I hope to see you again. If you're not subscribed, I hope you will. Consider coming and hanging out again. The likes really do help. The comments help. Keep them going. I appreciate y'all. I want to know about the app morph alerts. From the morph market idea. I'd love to know about that because I have found the right person that could bring that to fruition, and it'd be fun to do. And I think it'd be an addition to the hobby, but let me know. I just don't worry about my ego. Just tell me. That's just business stuff. Next week, Alan from Creme de la Clutch will be on at 8 p.m. And I hope you're well. And I hope by the next time I see you, I will have cut eggs. I'll have new hatchlings, and I hope I have a whole new clutch of eggs to replace those eggs with, because that girl's due today as well. Trey, thanks for hanging out, man. I can't wait to hang out in person. And until next time, I'll say good night to everybody. We're going to hit the music. Cheers, everybody. Good night. Will, Boca is like 3.5 hours south of us. Not too bad, not too far. Cheers, everybody. Good night.